Final question, is there anything that you may want to confess before you go in?
I keep everything right here. There you go. Or right here.
Welcome to Unsolicited, where I make videos about things that nobody asked me to. Recently, singer Cassie filed a lawsuit against her ex-boyfriend Diddy, alleging that throughout the course of their decade-long relationship, she was subjected to emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Diddy publicly denied these allegations, however, the case was quickly settled out of court, which speaks volumes. Since Cassie's lawsuit, other similar allegations against Diddy have surfaced, and it's becoming clear that Diddy has a long history of using and abusing women. Cassie filed her lawsuit on November 17, 2023 against Diddy, as well as Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, and Combs Enterprises. She said, "I'm coming for you and the LLCs." So some backstory for you. Cassie's from Connecticut. She started modeling when she was 14 and was in different ads, modeled for 17 magazine, and she was even in Mario's Just a Friend music video. She was a part of her high school's performing arts program. She also took vocal lessons and dance classes. She graduated high school in 2004 and moved to New York, where she met Ryan Leslie, who ended up writing and producing her first single, Me and You, which became a hit overseas. Diddy heard Me and You in the club and convinced Ryan Leslie to bring Cassie over to Bad Boy, and this is where 19-year-old Cassie met 37-year-old Diddy in 2005 and signed to his label Bad Boy Records under a 10-album deal, which that in itself just shows how he wanted to lock her in and be able to control her long term. Because to be so for real, Cassie's voice was not giving 10-album deal. Diddy just wanted her signed, sealed, delivered, she's his. Under Bad Boy, Cassie released her self-titled debut album in 2006, with the lead single being Me and You. The album ended up peaking at number 4 on the billboards. Cassie was having her first taste at success, but it came with a price. At first, Diddy presented himself as sort of a father figure to Cassie. I mean, literally he could have been her father. He's almost 20 years older than her. She was 19, young and naive, and he introduced her to a very fast-paced, drug-fueled lifestyle, and he would often flaunt his wealth and power. Diddy started to show romantic interest in Cassie, even though he was publicly in a relationship with Kim Porter, and Cassie herself had a boyfriend at the time who was rumored to be Ryan Leslie. At Cassie's 21st birthday party, Diddy pulled her into a bathroom and put his nasty, dirty lips on her without her consent. She was so scared to tell anybody but her best friend. Diddy was such a powerful man, and he was her boss. She was afraid that doing anything to upset him would hurt her career. One night, Cassie agrees to go out with him, and he convinces her to take a pill, which at the time she didn't know was E. I'm gonna use a little bit of code throughout the video because YouTube is sensitive, so keep up, y'all. There's another instance described in the lawsuit where Diddy creates a fake flyer to convince Cassie that she has a performance in Miami just to get her away from her boyfriend so Diddy could take her out. During this trip, Diddy pressured Cassie into taking more substances, and she felt like she had to comply because he was her boss, and after giving her the drugs, he had intercourse with her. This began a decade-long relationship of control and abuse. Diddy started controlling both Cassie's personal and professional life. He was taking care of her financially, even paying for an apartment for her 5 minutes from where he lived. He bought her a car and other expensive gifts, which he often used as an apology after mistreating her. The lawsuit alleges that Diddy had anger issues and he would frequently be violent and put his hands on Cassie, even in front of his other employees who were too afraid to speak up to him. The people around them nicknamed them Ike and Tina, yet none of them had the courage to speak up about what was going on. Looking back though, the signs were there, like this strange video Diddy posted of Cassie on his Snapchat where Cassie just seems not right.
What you gotta say now? What you gotta say now? Baby, yo babe. Getting weird. Come on, baby. It's hot outside. You wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach.
There's even this photo of Cassie with a busted lip wearing shades, and people were somehow convinced this was from an ATV accident. The lawsuit describes times where the abuse was so brutal that Diddy had to hide Cassie in a hotel for a week until her bruises and other injuries faded away. Because of a combination of the abuse and the drugs that she was being given, Cassie started to develop memory loss, which she saw a doctor for. However, her patient privacy wasn't even being respected as her MRI results were sent directly to Diddy's email. He had so much control over her, she was deathly afraid of him. To put more fear in her, he would have her hold his pew-pew-pews in her purse just to show her how dangerous he was. It was because of this fear that Cassie complied to his every request, no matter how big or small. Found out she called her grandpa Pop Pop? Guess what? He told her to call him Pop Pop. He suggests that she shave her head. And guess what? She shaves her head.
Yo, Cassie, tomorrow I want you to shave the side of your head. And I was like, hold on, what the f? kind of request is that? She said, well, I mean, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna do.
Then their relationship took an even sharper turn when Diddy started hiring men to come perform certain activities with Cassie while he watched and filmed them. During these encounters, both Cassie and the men were given various drugs, and these freak-offs, as Diddy would call them, would last for days. If Cassie tried to rebel against Diddy in any way, she was punished with physical abuse. The substances allowed Cassie to disassociate during her encounters with the men, but Diddy would constantly remind her by making her watch the videos he filmed and would tell her that even if she tried to delete it, he had backups. There were times throughout their decade-long relationship where Cassie would try to separate herself from Diddy, but he would always find ways to reel her back in. For example, in 2012, Cassie briefly dated Kid Cudi, and when Diddy found out, he brutally attacked Cassie and tried to harm Kid Cudi by having his car blown up. There were several instances where Cassie was hiding from Diddy, not answering his phone calls, and he would have his staff members call her to threaten her. They would say things like, "We won't release your single unless you call Mr. Combs back. It's in your best interest to call Mr. Combs back, da da da." Diddy even came to her house unannounced one night when her friend Carrie Morgan was there, and he ended up getting into an altercation with Carrie where he threw a hanger at her. This led to a settlement between Diddy and Carrie, where Cassie ended up having to pay additional funds to settle the dispute. In September of 2018, Cassie agrees to meet with Diddy for dinner in order to settle things and finally break away from him for good. They went back to Cassie's apartment afterwards, the one that Diddy paid for, and he forced himself on her, even though she repeatedly yelled no. Soon after, Cassie moved out of the apartment Diddy paid for, returned the car he bought for her, and signed contracts to get out of her deal with Bad Boy Entertainment. Although she broke things off with Diddy, the trauma still remained, and she was left with addictions to the substances he forced on her. She had trouble sleeping and eating, and even had thoughts of ending her life. Cassie has now been to rehab and done intensive therapy. She's now married to Alex Fine, and they have two beautiful daughters, Frankie and Sunny, who Cassie says gave her purpose in life, and all of this has given her the strength to face her abuser. Like I said, Cassie filed her lawsuit November the 17th, and by November the 18th, it was settled. That's how you know.
Were really brilliant. They didn't sue just Diddy, they sued his corporation.
They sure did.
In her capacity as an employee. When you do that, it triggers commercial liability insurance.
Yeah.
And it triggers another policy called directors and officers. Okay, and we know he's a director of these companies as the CEO. So now you got two policies. What happens then is it takes away Puffy's ability to settle. It's not his choice no more.
So it's no longer personal accountability, it's his organization.
It's his organization. And it's no different than like if you hit somebody with your car. Let's say you have State Farm. State Farm gets to decide to settle, not you. You could say, I didn't run the stop sign. That's not true. They're lying. If State Farm says, we don't care, we did our investigation, we're settling. That's it. That's what happened here. So because they added those claims, the corporate insurance carrier got to say, read over and say, hell no, we giving her the money.
We're hearing you.
In response to the settlement, here goes Diddy's lawyer talking about a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Miss Ventura the best.
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
After learning what Cassie went through with him, the fact that he had the nerve to thank Cassie at the BET Awards for holding him down during the dark times when he is literally the embodiment of a dark time is beyond me. Cassie's lawsuit has inspired other women to come forward about their experiences with Diddy. On November the 23rd, a woman named Liza Gardner filed a lawsuit claiming that in 1990, she and her friend went to a party where they were SA'd by Diddy and singer Aaron Hall. That same day, a woman named Joy Dickerson Neal, who was a student at Syracuse University at the time, that was also interested in the music business, said that Diddy had been romantically pursuing her, but she didn't want to get involved with him because she had heard some things about the way he treated women. Joy ended up reluctantly going on the date, and during that date, she left her drink unattended to go to the bathroom, and when she came back, she was in a state where she couldn't stand or walk. She was taken to Diddy's home, where he SA'd her and filmed the assault. She then discovered from a friend of hers, friend being Devontae Swing of Jodeci, that Diddy had showed him and other men the video of him assaulting her. This caused Joy severe emotional distress, and she was hospitalized for depression and thoughts of unaliving herself. Then comes a fourth lawsuit filed by a Jane Doe on December 6th, which claims that in 2003, when she was only 17 years old, Diddy and Harve Pierre, president of Bad Boy Entertainment, trafficked her across state lines from Detroit to New York on a private jet where they gave her drugs and violently gang essayed her. In 2016, Harv Pierre was actually accused of grooming and assaulting his assistant, and we've learned that Diddy is no stranger to mistreating women, so the claims sound plausible to me. Diddy has of course denied all these claims, saying on Instagram, "Enough is enough. For the last couple of weeks, I've sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth." Since these allegations have surfaced, Diddy has stepped down as chairman of Revolt, and 18 companies have ended their partnership with his e-commerce brand. I am not surprised at all that these allegations are coming out about Diddy. I'm happy that these women are fighting for the justice that they deserve. It's sick how these people in positions of power use their influence to take advantage of people and clean up their messes along the way. And all this has me wondering what Kim Porter would have to say if she was here today. She was with him for so long. I wonder what she may have had to endure being with a man like this for all those years. There's rumors that he broke Kim's nose, then paid for a nose job to fix it. Rumors that he was wiretapping her phone to listen to her conversations. And there's even a conspiracy theory about her death and if he was involved. All I can say is Carisha better run far and fast. Anyways, y'all, that's it. That's the video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all things that YouTubers be telling people to do, and I'll see you next time. Bye!